Hey y'all, welcome to What the F. I am really excited about this episode because I just had a conversation with comedian Jake Lambert. If you don't know who Jake Lambert is, you need to know because he is hysterical. He lives in the UK, so he's got the sexy British accent and everything, and is just a really funny, wonderful storytelling comedian who also lives with epilepsy. You may have seen some of his epilepsy clips and reels that he does talk about in his comedy. And he's coming to the States. So you guys, you got to tune in for just like behind the scenes about what it's like, living with epilepsy, being a stand-up comedian, and sharing that with the world. I can't wait for you guys to hear this. We just had so many laughs. I know, shocking, laughing with a comedian, but it's so good. And before we dive in, though, I want to give a huge shout out to sponsors Neurelis and SK Life Science. Also, community partners Epilepsy Foundation of America, the Danny Did Foundation, and Epilepsy Alliance America. Thanks, you guys, for believing in What the F. All right, here we go. Jake, it is so awesome to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. I understand you just got back from the New Zealand leg of your
Yes.
Kid Sunshine tour. So
Yeah.
that
The Sunshine Kid tour. But
oh, sorry.
you did the right
Leave it
words, just not
leave
in the
it to
right
someone
order.
with epilepsy to mess that up. Like
The
sunshine.
the Kid Sunshine tour sort of
It's not,
it's like a children's show. It sort of sounds
that's
like
what
I'm
I was
doing something with
thinking.
Elmo. But no, this
Yes.
is just me.
I was picturing Cabbage Patch Dolls. I was like,
Okay.
reminds me of my
Yeah.
childhood. Yeah. Um,
Yes. It'd be a different show.
yeah.
But no, this is for adults.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, and I understand that went really well, which was so dope.
Mm. Oh,
And
thank you. Yeah, it was lovely.
yeah, except for the travel back, I understand was a little
Yes, yeah,
chaotic.
yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, I got to the first airport. So I had how many different airports? I think I was going to be in four airports. And then the first flight I got there, and I just wasn't on the plane. They were like, we can see you have all the confirmation, but there's no actual ticket. So we can't do anything with you. So that was the start of my 30 something hour journey home. Other than that, it
Oh,
was fine.
okay, okay, no big deal.
An
So,
anecdote, I guess.
what's that?
It gives me an anecdote. Otherwise, how was the journey home? Fine. That's a boring anecdote. What people want to know is I was stuck at the airport with no flight and I was 11,000 miles from home and I couldn't do anything about it. That's what people really want.
Well, is that kind of, I don't know, sort of how you view your lens of like living? Is that like a lot of what you experience could be content
In
for what
hindsight.
you, sure. Yeah, so I imagine in the moment when you're like, being delayed and on an 11-hour journey home, you're not like, oh, this is gonna be fucking hilarious on stage. But
Yeah, I can't wait to tell this on What the F. But no, it's just to be clear, not 11 hours, 11,000 miles,
oh,
30 plus
sorry.
hours. No, so I want everyone to know just how much I suffered.
Okay, okay, yes, yeah. My
And a
apologies.
10-hour layover in Melbourne. But I have a friend there. So I actually just met up with a friend for lunch. I mean, what a lovely thing to get to do. Pop into Melbourne and just have the day there. And then
Yeah.
14 or 10 hours later, I'm in Hong Kong. And then 14 hours later, I'm in London. I mean,
I mean, that's so dope.
crazy to complain. So yeah, I went out for
Yeah.
lunch with my friend. We went to a bookshop and just walked around
Oh,
in Brunswick in Melbourne. So it was lovely
that
to be
is
able to do that in the
lovely.
middle of a journey. Is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, like, as someone living with epilepsy, I hear that and I'm like, yeah, that's like a recipe for a seizure. Like,
Yeah. Well, what's good is I know I've got the 10 hours where I'm definitely going to sleep, and then the 14 hours that
yeah.
I'm definitely. So I basically had a 24 hours where I knew I can just, and I'm very good at that on planes.
Oh,
I'll be gone.
nice. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. So that
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah. Because yeah,
Otherwise,
if you
yeah,
can
a
sleep on
nightmare.
planes, that like makes such a difference. Because I feel like if you can't, then you're kind of fucked. So
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And yeah, it's sometimes there's a side of it where you sort of get there and you want to enjoy it and you want to sort of obviously there's nice food and you want to watch the films, but ultimately the best thing is just to get on there, lie back and just
Pass out.
take something that might help you sleep and
Yeah.
then and sleep.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's amazing. And then be very confused when they come and like nudge you to wake you up.
You're like,
You got
what
no
are you?
idea where you
What
are.
and why? Leave
Oh
me
God, I dread to
alone.
think. Yeah, what I must look like when they do that. The worst one was when I went to South Africa, and it was I think the flight there must be something about maybe 11 or 12 hours from London to South Africa, but it's only 1 hour. They're 1 hour ahead because it's obviously just south, straight down.
Yeah.
Um, and my flight left London at 11 o'clock at night. So my plan was I will just have dinner, I'll watch a film, I'll sleep for 8 hours, and then I'll wake up, have breakfast, and get off the plane. And that was the plan. But then what happened was some of the crew came up to me at the start of the flight to let me know that they were fans. And I was like, well, now I don't want to be fast asleep if
Oh,
you can see me. And you suddenly become very aware of yourself. So I did still, despite that, I did manage to sleep. So I dread to think what they saw me doing, but I was fast asleep. And then somehow, when I got to South Africa, having 8 hours sleep overnight, 1 hour time difference, I was still so jet lagged. So I don't understand. I think it's just being on a plane.
yeah, it does take it out of you. Traveling, I think
Yeah.
traveling in general just takes it out of you, whether or not you've got a
Mm.
time difference you're going to or not. I don't
That,
know.
yeah, that's it. I guess being 30,000 feet in the air, traveling at 500 miles per hour probably will have an effect on your body.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess.
I guess. Oh my God. Well, okay. So I have so many questions for you, but what I want to start with is like, how did you even like what prompted you like to get into stand up? Because I'm such a fan of your work. Obviously, like the near and dear, bits to my heart are
Mm.
the epilepsy ones. But like
Yeah.
beyond, you have such a like a breadth. Am I saying that? Like a wide breadth of work, and like it just expands beyond epilepsy, obviously, and like
Mm.
the way you tell a story is so hysterical. And I'm just curious, like, where that came from and what led you to, like, go after stand up?
Well, I always wanted to do something like that, and I didn't know exactly before I started it. I didn't even know what I would talk about, and then I started posting jokes on Twitter years ago, and then some comedians would follow me, and then they ended up messaging me, and a few were asking if they could buy the jokes off of me, and if I would delete the tweet, and then it would be theirs, and they would send me the money, and then I was thinking, well, if
That's cool.
if you think they're good enough, I might as well just tell them myself. So I just booked a night in London at an open mic, and I went along and did it. Just reeled off the jokes I had been writing on Twitter and just picked my
Yeah.
favorite ones that I thought would work on stage. And so none of them were connected; they were just one-liners. And then uh, that went well, but I always wanted to build up the confidence to be myself more and just talk more and tell stories. So I felt like I cheated a bit because I had these jokes I could hide behind. And then over
Mm.
time, just started stretching it out a bit more. And then I would make, I would write jokes that I knew wouldn't work so that the all the momentum would stop. And then I'd have to get myself out of that trouble. So I was like, give myself little like puzzles and that to solve and get over to
Oh,
help with like
cool.
confidence on stage. I was like, if I can make the audience feel really awkward and then get myself out of it, then I think they'll feel more relaxed that if anything
Sure.
goes wrong, I can get us out of it. And I'll feel more relaxed that I can get myself out of it as well. So I just did stuff like that until I eventually felt confident just to be myself and tell stories.
That's awesome. Like, especially, I've never heard of that either. Like being like, yeah, I'm gonna make sure that this just stops everything.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
like
yeah.
I have, which like I've heard now that you use almost like as not as like a problem, but as like a way to implement a joke. It's like everything.
Mm,
Like I think it was in one of the bits about wasn't even about epilepsy, and then all of a sudden it
mm.
was. And you say
Right.
something to the effect of like it would be almost like if I have epilepsy. Just kidding, I don't. And then you're like, actually, I do. And it just stops everything. And it's
Oh
like,
yeah, I forgot I did that. Yes, yeah. I think
yeah,
that was on a
wow, I feel
TV show, that bit, right? And it was
yes,
to
yes,
make
yes,
them all feel
yes.
tense. Yeah, I thought I'd do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do that
Yeah.
on national television. Yeah, I forgot I did that. Yeah, I can't remember how I worded it, but yeah, I did something like that, and that made it extra tense because the audience sort of
Mhm.
stopped laughing to go, "Oh, does that mean we can or can't laugh? What's happening here?" You sort of
Right.
they've
Right.
ended up laughing at both. They've laughed at the joke despite the fact I don't have it. And then they've realized I do have it, and then they're like, it's an interesting sort of human reaction because I'm not
Totally.
an edgy comedian, but some comedians that like to be edgy, they like the audience to sort of laugh and then stop and gasp, right? Like Jimmy Carr
Hmm.
says that because he's like, oh, but you already laughed though, so your instinct was to laugh. Then you caught
Hmm.
yourself, and then you went, oh, should I be laughing at that? So like,
Yeah.
it's a good way to play with them like that, but not that I'm edgy at all. I just tell jokes, hopefully that just make people laugh. That's all I'm really aiming for.
Well, yeah, you do a really good job at it too. And I guess
Thank
my
you.
question is too, like, when did you start integrating epilepsy into your comedy?
So it was just a few years ago, and then I think I must have seen a comedian do something about something really personal to them. Yeah, you watch them and you see somebody, maybe a comedian would talk about their childhood, or they'll talk about something about being at home, and it will just make you go, oh yeah, why don't I talk about my childhood? There's probably something funny there.
Yeah.
And that was it basically. I just thought, oh yeah, I should try that. So let me just write everything down that happened and then see where I can put the jokes.
And you were diagnosed with epilepsy when you were at uni, I believe
Mm-hmm.
you guys say,
Yeah.
which is we call it college here in the States. But so like
Oh yeah.
was there ever a point though that you felt like uncomfortable disclosing it on stage, or like was it just sort of this thing that you're like, you know what? This person did it. It's something that I can do too. Like, and I think that it'll just like,
Mm.
help my set or help my, be something that I can
Yeah.
do.
I wasn't sure how it was going to go down, so I had a gig, and I just decided that night that I was going to do it. I was like, I'm just going to talk about it tonight and see what happens. And then a lady came up to me afterwards and said that her son has epilepsy, and thank you so much for talking about it. And in fact, the promoter, I think, said there's a lady who wants to talk to you. Her son's got epilepsy. And I thought, I don't know. I was like, am I about to be told off? I don't think I even thought this is going to go well. I thought
Yeah.
she's going to tell me I shouldn't be doing those jokes. And I just have to stop doing it. And then she
Yeah.
said, no, I can't wait to tell him all about you. He'll love your stuff. Is anything online? And I said, no, it's the first time I've ever spoke about it. So I've got
Wow.
nothing. That was it. So that just really helped me to know that I was doing the right thing. And then I started doing tour support over here for a big act over here called Michael McIntyre. I don't know how big he is in America, but he travels around the world. We did Australia together, was the first place we did, and he does arenas. So I think I got off stage in London. That was the Friday night. There was about 80 people in the room, and I talked about epilepsy on stage then. I got on a plane on Saturday, and on Monday I walked out on stage in Melbourne in front of 15,000 people, and that was like from Friday to 80 people to Monday to 15,000.
Holy
And I just
cow.
thought I'm going to like talk about epilepsy. I'll carry on doing my stuff, and then it went well. Then when we were in Sydney, that a lady messaged me and she said that her son had been diagnosed with epilepsy that day, and they weren't sure whether they were going to come to the show. They didn't know I was on. They didn't know me, I don't think, at the point, and they said that they thought, let's just go and watch Michael McIntyre, and it would cheer us up. Then they sat down. I walked out. Then I started talking about having epilepsy, and they said like it really helped because their son was like, oh wow, he's got
Wow.
it, and look, he's doing this. So it was just
Totally.
such amazing timing, I guess. So that was
Yeah.
cool. So then it was only ever maybe three examples I can think of where people weren't happy about it. Three, but I've been doing it for years and doing it in front of crowds of all sorts, and videos that online that got millions of views, and there's only three that I can think of. It was one person emailed me after a show and said he has epilepsy and I shouldn't be joking about it. And then I
Hmm.
just wrote back and said, everything I've had is positive. So this is the first negative thing I've ever had. So I don't know, maybe, hopefully, I was like, you misunderstood what I was saying, or you missed the bit where I said I had it. I don't know, but that's
Hmm.
not been the consensus. And then when it first bit went out on television, somebody messaged me and said, you don't have epilepsy. If you had epilepsy, you wouldn't be joking about it. And I was
Oh,
like, well, that
that's
again, they
weird.
must not be paying attention. I couldn't quite understand. And then, um,
It's like, I don't know how else you live with epilepsy if you don't joke about it.
yeah,
Like,
that it was so strange. Such a crazy thing for someone to say you don't have it. And I was like, I don't even know what to say to it. Like, it's such a
right.
bizarre. I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that
And
that
then I
is
was like,
something
what?
you don't respond to. You're just like, I can't give this
Yeah.
time.
Obviously, what I
Mhm.
want to say is, I wish you were right, but unfortunately, I do
Yeah.
have it. So, okay.
Yeah.
Um, and then just I think just one comment I just happened to see the other day under the story where somebody just went, "Not funny. You shouldn't joke about this." And I was like, "That's it. That's the three." So I can only think of three I've ever seen that's been negative.
Hmm. Okay.
But luckily, one of those, would have been a world where one of those three happens to be at the first show I ever did where I spoke about it, and I might have never got to because of people like that.
Yeah, totally.
Mm,
No, that's a great
so
point. It's like,
yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I completely overuse and misuse this word, but I feel like it's like sort of kismet that the first night that you did, there's
mm, mm,
a young man literally diagnosed that day,
yeah.
and this is the first time you've taken this step. Like, I feel like those two things, like it's first for both of you guys. Like, it's like a whole new, I don't know, sector that you both are entering. And
I
I
had
don't know.
um I had I had one show that I got asked to do because another comedian dropped out, and so I went on and I had to do an hour. And I was talking about epilepsy, and I went out and because it was a last minute replacement. I think like 2 hours before the show was supposed to start. This other
Wow.
act dropped out, so I went to do it, and there was a guy on the front row, and this other act is not like me at all. The act who dropped out is very would laddie translate in America? Would you know what that
No.
means? It's like very like I guess bro energy.
Ah,
Right, if that makes sense.
I want to
Really
take it though. Laddie is good. Yeah.
laddie.
Hey,
So it's very
Laddie.
laddie humor.
Yeah.
And he sat there on the front row, this guy, arms folded, just sort of
Ugh.
staring at me like the whole I was like, this guy hates me so much, but I'm just gonna have to ignore it. And then afterwards, him and his partner came up to me in the car park. I don't know if it was his girlfriend or his wife, and she said, he looking at you like he hated you?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "It's fine." I was like, "But yeah," I was like, "It was tough." And then she said he had his first ever seizure this week, and so he's been struck
Oh.
off work. Well, struck off work. He's been off work, signed off
Hmm.
work, and then we thought we'll come and see this other act because he's a big fan of his. Maybe it would cheer him up. So he said he was sat there the whole time. He thought it was like a setup. She had like pretended they were going to go and see this other act. And in
Oh
fact, they were
no.
coming to see me so he could hear all about epilepsy. So I'm like, I couldn't believe he didn't like, he could have walked out. And if he got up and walked out, I'd have been like, what's going on? Because it was still early with me doing it as well. So I was like, there's a lot of things thrown my way to like test me as to whether or not I was supposed to be doing this. But that was another
Totally.
ended up being another positive one. But I could have just halfway through the bit gone, I'm not going to do this,
Yeah.
and let because this guy hate. I thought he hated me, but he was just confused. I think he thought, yeah, that he'd been set up.
Yeah. 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 He's like, okay, honey. Like, okay,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Do
we're
you
here to
think
see
I
the other
wasn't going to
guy.
catch on?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God.
So it's crazy timing like that.
Yeah. That
Has
is
has
nuts.
helped. Mm,
S- Um, so okay, when you talk about like all of this stand-up life, like you get 2 hours notice that you're gonna do an hour set. You're
mm.
flying all over, you're doing all of these things, like, and we did talk a little bit about travel, but like how do you manage because I hear all again, like it's all these things that I hear and I'm like, oh my God, like how does a person with epilepsy like live this sort of lifestyle? Like and this is not in a judgmental way. This is a curiosity and like
Mm.
admiration way. Like this is so cool. What can someone else who might be listening who wants to be a comedian who has epilepsy and didn't think it's possible because of the lifestyle?
Yeah, I think the hardest thing for me actually is not so much all the traveling, even though that is tiring, but I'm very good at sleeping when I get somewhere as well. It's like if I,
You're very good at sleeping in general, it seems like. You're
yeah,
just good.
really
Okay.
good at that. I've nailed that. So when it gets to like,
Nailed
um,
that.
I did Canada in December. I toured around Canada, and that was going from one city, getting up the next day, going to the airport, flying to another city, having 2 hours at the hotel, go and do the show, back to the hotel, next day, same thing. It was like airport, hotel, venue, hotel, airport. It was that on rotation. So I'm good at like, if I'll get there and I'll say I arrive at the hotel at 3, I'm like, okay, close all the curtains, lay down for an hour, whether I'm actually going to sleep or at least just going to put a podcast on and lay with my eyes closed. It just really helps me to reset to do that. So it's little coping mechanisms. But the hardest thing, I think, aside from the traveling, it's the fact that you work nights. So if somebody has like a 9 to 5 job, then they would usually obviously work for those 8 hours and then maybe do something social or come home and have dinner. And then there's a time from maybe 9 o'clock for 2 or 3 hours where they'll sit on the sofa and they'll just sort of watch TV, whether it's like their favorite show or film or something. But because you're working nights, you still feel guilty about doing that during the day. So you don't have that sort of switch off time. So maybe I'll have, if I have, like, for example, on Friday this week, I have 2 shows in the evening down in Portsmouth, which is like a 2 hour drive from me. So I'll drive down for 2 hours, do one show, go and do another show, then drive back. But Friday, I won't sit on the sofa in front of the telly for 3 hours because it doesn't feel right. So you have to make sure you force yourself to stop in some way. So I read a lot.
Yeah.
It's that, because otherwise, then you get back and it's midnight and you haven't stopped all day because you end up replying to emails or you know, doing some work or writing something, or I make a video, make a reel or something like that. So you have to like, so what I find is watching a show, if I just have a show that's like like a sitcom's perfect, if it's like a half an hour episode and I just know, right, I'm going to sit down with a cup of tea and just watch half an hour of this show, and that will just help me just to stop for a little bit. So I just have these little coping things, because that's the hardest thing, that if anybody starts to either do comedy or do something where you're self-employed, it's the stopping that's tough. Like the bonus is you don't have to be up first thing in the morning and work for 8 hours every day. But the negative is you're always working. So like I can fall asleep thinking of an idea, or I can wake up at 3 o'clock and end up laying there thinking of an idea or some joke or something. So it's, one thing is, yeah, you never really have to be up early doing something, but the negative is you don't really experience a day off.
Yeah, especially since like like you were saying, you know, like your nights are when other people are relaxing. You're like you just said, you've got shows Friday nights, so your weekends are when other people you are people's leisure time essentially, right? So
Exactly,
like
yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
but I'm just curious what you do with those thoughts when you have them. Like, do you just like let yourself go back to sleep? Do you voice memo them to yourself? Or are you just like, if it's good enough, it'll come back?
Yeah, unfortunately, the latter. I'll just sort of say, if it's good enough, it will come back,
Yeah.
and then sometimes go the next day. I'm going, what on earth was I thinking about? There was something there. I
Yeah.
can't believe it. But you don't want to pick your phone up because you'll end up looking at something. And now,
Yes.
especially, I've just got US management, which means here, my agency and management here, they'll work from, obviously they sort of work a lot later because of the career they're in, but their offices hours are 10 until 6. But that means at 5 p.m. here, it's 9 a.m. in LA where my manager is there. So as
Yeah.
soon as he gets the phone, so she could be emailing me from that point up until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So it's exciting. It's lovely to think there's always somebody sort of working away for you. And it's always nice to know. But it means that an exciting email can come through. So when you wake up at 3, you pick up your phone, you're like, what if I check my emails? And there's either something exciting or there's nothing or bad news. And then I'm not going to sleep either way. I'm going to be like, oh no, not that. I didn't get the response for that thing, or I didn't get that thing, or oh wow, I got that thing. Now it's 3 o'clock and I'm excited and I can't sleep. So I just go,
Totally.
don't look at your phone, no matter what. Just don't look at the phone. Just try and remember the idea, and it will
Yeah.
be there tomorrow. It'll be there tomorrow. That's what I have to do basically. That's why I don't write a note on my phone because
No,
my
that's smart.
my thumb will just open the email or WhatsApp app. It will just go there and do it, even if I don't want it to.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's really smart because like once it's in front of you, you're like, but now.
hmm Yeah, quickly just check this, check that, check
Yeah.
that. Yeah, quickly, and then back to sleep. And you're like, nope, because your brain's taking on so much
Yeah,
information. Yeah,
totally. Totally.
yeah.
Um, so you said you have a manager now in the States, an agent,
hmm
manager. I don't know.
Manager. Yeah. I've been watching BoJack Horseman. That's one of my half an hour shows, and there's a joke throughout that whole series of what's the difference between an agent and a manager. And I was like, I'm so glad it's not just me because I don't know either. She might be listening. She's great. I'm glad she's my manager. She's amazing. But I don't know. I don't. She can explain it to me one day. I don't know what it is. But all I know is
Okay.
she's good at her job.
Because you're coming to the States, which is so exciting, this
Mm,
fall, this autumn,
yes.
as
Oh,
Brits like to say. Yeah, that's so
yes.
awesome. I can't wait. And you're
Mm.
coming to Chicago, dude. I am so stoked to see you. This is gonna be so great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to go. I've only been to Chicago once, which was my family and I think we were flying home from a holiday somewhere when I was like 7, and they did a thing where they had to pay people to get off the plane because it was too booked or something. So my parents decided, well, let's just have a night in Chicago. So they paid for our hotel and paid, I think it was maybe, I don't know, every family member like, I don't know, $200 to get off the plane or something. And my mum and dad were like, right, that sort of helps towards the holiday we've just booked. So
Hell yeah.
they said,
Yeah.
let's have a night in Chicago. And so we made friends with another British family, and they said, let's all do it. So we all did it,
Oh, that's so
and
fun.
they had children around our age. We all stayed in this amazing hotel, and I remember it had like a pianist like in the foyer when you went in, and I was like, to me, I was like in Macaulay Culkin. I was like, this is unbelievable. Like I'm in this hotel, and it was just, I remember it was just incredible, and it was just an amazing sort of magical night. We had one night in Chicago, and it was great. So that was my only
Oh.
experience. Can't wait to come back.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I mean, you're coming in a great time. The fall is absolutely gorgeous here.
Oh,
Um,
great. Yeah.
yeah.
It's my favorite time of year as well. So that's good. I'll get to see that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And speaking of your
Lovely.
family, since you mentioned
Mm.
them, epilepsy runs in your family, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's my eldest sister. She has it, and my nephew, one of my nephews.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so what was that? Because from what I understand, from what I've read, is that your sister had it while you were growing up,
hmm
and that,
Yeah,
yeah, and then yours came later, but you guys have very different types. Is that
yeah,
correct? Yeah.
yeah. Hers is from sort of strobe lighting. That's triggers
Okay.
hers, and I think she was about 16. I think around then she was actually on a boat. She was on a family like. Could you have canals in America? Is that a thing? Canals?
I mean, not like you guys.
Right. Yeah.
They're
Okay.
not nice. They're not like
Right.
yeah, they're not like nice
Oh,
things to
okay.
go down here.
Oh, okay. So it's like
Yeah.
we have canal boats that are just designed for the canals. They're very like long and thin, and so I think they were on a holiday like that. So it wasn't even a big boat, and she had a seizure on the boat. No, but we didn't know she had epilepsy. She was with my cousin, so she was with my dad's brother. So that's how my parents found out. That's how everyone found out she had epilepsy. My nan, she lived in a like an apartment building, so I remember the lift had strobe lighting, like the light was obviously not deliberately, but the light was broken. They hadn't fixed it. So we just, whenever we went there, we had to take the stairs. So it was like, of course, we have to take the stairs up to see Nan because we've got Claire. Like it was never like, I don't know, probably my parents should have been like calling them up and writing emails to be like, this is so unsafe because you don't know who else is going to be experiencing this. My mum's having to take, 3 children upstairs. Like,
Sure.
I guess, my sister was 16, but I was like, I'm much younger than her. So it was that sort of thing. But we just sort of knew it, how Claire might have a seizure. So it was just, it became when you're a child growing up in something, whatever your childhood is, you assume it's normal. So I think that was life
Totally.
for us. That was it. And then it
Yeah.
was only as we got older. I think, in fact, Claire, when she had her first child, when she had Callum, and Callum's also got epilepsy, Claire had Callum, then had a seizure afterwards, and So I don't know if that
Mm.
was obviously it's a big thing to go through to have a baby, but then whether it's the lighting in the hospital that did it as well. And now Callum has epilepsy. When he was younger, in fact, she lived in Germany for a while, my sister, and she had a seizure and she fell onto uh, Callum's younger brother, who was like not even a year old at the point when she was having a seizure. And
Oh,
Callum must have only been 2 or 3, and he managed to pull her off of his brother.
wow.
Yeah, because yeah, she was right
Wow.
on top of him. So Callum managed to pull her up. So that was amazing. Really, they did that. Now Callum has epilepsy. Yeah, but so it's
Uh,
good to talk about because stuff like the idea that he couldn't get medication for a while, and they just said to him, just be careful because there was a shortage of medication here, and people didn't know about it. You wouldn't know unless you had epilepsy, and other families
yeah.
like he, for example, him and my sister, they were dealing with it. And I was when they told me, I was like, I said, Claire, I was like, I've got a following. I can post about this stuff because if the
Yeah.
media aren't picking it up and if people aren't talking about it for some reason on TV or anything, I can do that now. So I did a post about it, and then the reaction was amazing. So that's how I started then posting about epilepsy online because I realized how much people were like, "Thank you so much."
Yeah.
I didn't realize how sort of how much it was needed, someone just to talk about it, which is like what you're doing, right, with the podcast. We need people like you to do it. So it's amazing, really, that amazing in a, I guess, a negative way. What's the negative version of amazing? Awful. That it has to be people like us doing it. Otherwise, the main sort of media, I sound like Joe Rogan, but the mainstream media are sort of ignoring it. So that sounds like a
Yeah.
massive
Well, and
conspiracy theorist.
I noticed you'd mentioned that in one of your posts saying, like I tried to talk about epilepsy once and no one seemed to care. And
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
yeah, is that what you're referring to? Is the mainstream media or like is
Mm.
there specific story behind that?
Yeah, it was trying to get a documentary made, and then it was the BBC, and they sort of we sent a big pitch for this documentary just to get rid of all the like people think epilepsy is just strobe lighting, and then they know it's like a grand mal. Is that what it's called in America as well? Like when um,
Tonic-clonic. Yeah.
tonic-clonic. So that's what people, if people don't know about epilepsy, you say epilepsy, they think flashing lights and tonic-clonic. That's all they think of. So I
Yes.
was like, well, one, we'll be getting rid of all that myth. We'll be letting people know that maybe they have epilepsy and don't even realize because of all these other types of epilepsy and what can bring it on and what to do if you see someone, this whole thing about swallowing your tongue, all these like myths that we can get rid
Right.
of. And then
I
there's the Epilepsy Society just outside London. And it was actually a place where um, in Victorian times, they would, if people had epilepsy, they would send them there, but give them jobs so they could all live there and actually still have a job and still have a life. It was at the start, it was like a negative thing. Then they turned it into a positive, and now that's still Epilepsy Society still work from there, and they have MRIs and they've got people working
Oh
every
wow.
day, like working and like to find like breakthroughs and studying epilepsy and studying people's
Wow. I didn't know that.
blood
That's
and all this
amazing.
stuff. It's amazing. And I was like, we'd go there. They said no. And then the same, they later on, they made a documentary about slapping fights, people that will slap each other. And I'm like,
What?
how was that your priority? Like, how somebody made that decision and you just go, I just give up. I just think, I mean, I don't like the BBC anyway, but that would really sort of like yeah,
Yeah.
nail in the coffin.
I mean,
Gross.
it's a little bit of a slap in the face. Like
Hey, great. Like that.
like that's really
Lovely.
brutal. That's so brutal. Yeah, because you're right, it is kind of just down to them, like people like us being like, okay, we're just gonna talk about it and tell everyone because
Mm.
what else are we gonna do,
Yeah, but luckily, the videos I post somehow that epilepsy one got more views than probably the documentary would have. So at least you feel like you're doing something.
Oh, yes. Well, and I think part of
That's the
it
power
is
of the internet.
too, like a huge part of it is that approach with anytime you approach something with laughter or humor, it makes
Mm.
things it
Just more
it just
accessible.
yeah. And
Mm.
I think for the people it's, even about, like I think it just helps all of us to kind of, well, not all of us, obviously, by some of the uh, negative messaging you got. And I've received some negative
Mm.
messaging as well, from
Really?
oh, I curse too much. Um, and
See, well, I mean, the podcast called "What the F," but
that's what I said. I was like, what did you think was gonna happen?
But
Um,
I that's another thing. A crazy reaction I had is I don't swear. I don't really swear. I very rarely swear off stage, but I never swear on stage. I just don't do it. And
yeah,
I couldn't believe it early on in my career how many people would come up to me and say like, "It's amazing you don't swear." And I can't believe how many people are sort of really aware of even the absence of it. That people would say, "I can't believe you don't swear. That's
yeah,
amazing you don't do that." And I'm like, "Oh wow!" I was like, "I've never noticed that." So
me
people do
either.
really pick up on it more than I ever realized. And but it doesn't suit me to swear. It would just sound. I think people would laugh if I swore. I, it's
I
as much
honestly,
as far as I'd
I
go.
never noticed until now, and now I'm like, oh my God, am I offending Jake? Is
No,
Jake
I don't.
like,
I think it's. I remember Jerry Seinfeld saying that if he hears a comedian swear, he always thinks that joke's not finished. You couldn't find a way to make it funny, so you put a
mm,
swear word in there, and that stuck with me as
uh,
well. And that was years after I had not sworn, so I was like, "Oh, it made me feel even better about myself." I'm like, "Yeah,
yeah,
great.
yeah.
That's why I don't do it as well because I can finish a joke." But no, I just don't do it. I could probably go as far as maybe bloody hell, but I don't think that's really. I don't think anyone's going to email me and complain about that one. I don't think.
Oh yeah, I was like, wait, what is it? I didn't even hear the swear. I was like, was there a
Oh,
curse in
oh,
there?
okay, right, right. Wow,
Because
okay,
I am the antithesis of that. So like,
right.
for me it doesn't even clock. You say bloody hell and I'm like, I don't hear anything in there,
Oh,
man.
okay, that's so funny. I get away with that
Um
one. If I'm angry, I just think, "Oh, bloody hell," and then people go, "Oh, he's angry."
You don't seem like the angry type very often.
No, I guess something. If it really, what happens in the UK is something awful could happen, really bad. It could be like I don't even know, like a train wreck could happen, and then people would go, "Oh, blimey, bloody hell, that's awful," and then a British person will like spill their tea, and it would be like the end of the world. Oh, for beep's sake, this is big, typical of my living day. This thing, I do all this. I get home, I sit down with a cup of tea, and I spill it all over the beep, beep, beep. That's being British. And then you sit down, turn on the news, and it's like a train wreck happened today. Two trains collided, and they'll go, "Oh, blimey, that's annoying."
I see. I see. Yeah. No, that
That's the
tracks.
difference.
So when we were talking about, I do want to touch on your epilepsy too, which I feel like we haven't really talked
Mm,
too much about. Just because for anyone else listening who also experiences your Alice in Wonderland syndrome,
mm,
which I feel
yeah,
because it is very rare, but
yeah.
I think there might be, like if you could just explain that so that like because someone out there might be like, oh my God, I've never been able to name it. I also didn't know that was a
Mm,
thing. So if you could
yes.
just walk us through what that looks like.
So it's people have messaged me after I've mentioned it and said that they've experienced it. They don't have epilepsy, but they've experienced it. Often people get it when they're
Hmm.
tired, I think. So it's an experience people have told me they've had is if they're laying in bed, the bedroom door, for example, it can be anything, but just an example of the bedroom door can either seem like the size of a postage stamp, like so far away, or for some reason it feels like it's about a centimeter from your face. It just feels massive. Or the room can just seem huge and you're tiny, or you're massive and the room is small. It's just like Alice in Wonderland. So they think Lewis Carroll, who wrote Alice in Wonderland, they think he had it, and it's named it after him because it's all about
Wow.
things getting bigger and things getting smaller. And they said maybe that's what he experienced, and so they think he had epilepsy, and that was an aura he had. But then a lot of people have messaged me to say that they will have that with that, like migraines or just if they're
Mm.
very tired everything suddenly feels massive and they're small or the opposite, and it can be either one. And I experienced both. It can be either one, and sometimes it even happens with my eyes closed. I can be laying in the room with my eyes closed, and I feel like I fill the whole room and I'm right there, or I feel like I'm so tiny right now and there's this huge room around me. it's a very bizarre thing.
Wow.
To
Are there any
yeah, it's
like accompanying emotions that come with it? Like, is there like like
no,
a fear or like a shock or like a an awe, like anything that's
I think with if it's an aura if it's your aura that triggers your epilepsy, then obviously that will come with a fear that you think a seizure could be about to come. But other people, I think, just experience it and just go, "Oh, I'm experiencing this thing," and I didn't know what it was, but I had it years before I had epilepsy. I just had it as a child as well. I would lay in bed and I could feel that either like my head was huge and this room was tiny, or the other way
mm,
around. And it was just when I was super tired, which might have been
hmm.
me coping with seizures without me even knowing it. That my body was like,
Yeah.
"We're tired," because mine's brought on by tiredness, and so it might have been that. But yeah, it's just people. But then it's been amazing how many people have gone, "Oh my god, I have this. I never knew that it was called that. I don't have epilepsy, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I thought I was alone." So that's
Hmm.
nice as well, I guess. It's just people bringing bringing people together somehow, I guess. And it's yeah, Alice in Wonderland syndrome.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's
Mm.
creating that touchstone for people, because
Mm, yeah.
and it's things that we are afraid to talk about because it makes us sound crazy, right? You don't want to
Yes.
be like,
Yeah. Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
guys, does anyone
You know when
else
that
feel like
happens?
the
Yeah.
room is getting gigantic? Like, no one's gonna, like, and
They will assume
so
you're on
many people
drugs.
get, told for, so long that their epilepsy is just anxiety or something, like, oh,
Mm,
that's just your
yeah.
anxiety manifesting. So I think,
Yeah.
yeah, it's very helpful for people to hear it.
Yeah. 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 And it's yeah. Either with epilepsy or without, I think, just to be like, oh, that is a thing I am experiencing. That legitimizes my experience.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Mm.
Totally. So do you ever experience those on their own, or does that mean a seizure is
Mm.
coming for you?
Just on their own,
Hmm.
I'll have it, and I can just be. And then now I realize now as I've got older, it's tiredness that will bring it on, and I can lay there. And it was just the
Yeah.
other night when I had it with my eyes closed. I was like, "Oh,
Mm.
that's so strange. I know I'm experiencing it right now." Suddenly, this I can't really. It's like my hands or my head, just everything felt super big and like super massive. And I was like, I
Hmm.
know I'm experiencing it right now, and I'll touch the mattress, and I'm like, feels like my hands are huge,
Yeah.
and it's just I'm just experiencing it. I'm just tired, and it's just that, and it's just go to sleep. Yeah,
I just feel like in those moments, because I'll have auras without seizures sometimes, but
right. Yeah.
it's also and I'll get, for me, it's like a deja vu. I get pulled out and I
Mm,
remember
I was
something
about
that
to
doesn't
ask that.
exist. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always very creative though. Like, I love mine because they're very weird and creative, and like remembering like something from like song lyrics that don't exist, or a character that does not exist, or something like that. And then
Oh,
sometimes,
okay.
yeah, it's very cool. It's like remembering a dream that you never had. And
That's so interesting you say that because
yeah.
I have dreams that I think of every now and again, and I go, oh, it's like that dream when I was driving through that field, and then I'm like, did I ever have that dream, or am I just now remembering the last time I thought I had that dream? And I
Yeah.
asked someone the other day, do you ever wonder if you've ever had these dreams, or you've just come up with a dream that never existed? And you're the only person that's ever mentioned that to me. My whole life, there's always a few dreams that whenever I remember them, I think, make a note in your phone. So next time you have this thought, you can check, did that really
Yeah.
happen? Have I had this, or is it
Yeah.
the first time I'm remembering this dream? And I'm like, did that ever happen? That's so interesting that you said that. It was just the other day. I said, is that a real thing? And they were like, I don't know what you're talking about. And again, there you
Well,
go. I thought I was mad.
yeah, I mean, you might want to ask your doctor about it. It might be another type of aura. I hate saying that, but like,
Yeah,
I just want to be responsible as another person with
thank
epilepsy.
you.
Like,
You're very
yeah.
good. Yeah. No,
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but like, so I guess I guess like what I was trying to, but like, yeah, so they are like these crazy wild things that come in, right?
Mm,
And sometimes it'll lead to a seizure, sometimes it won't. Um, but they happen so quickly that I don't have time to be afraid of a seizure coming, right? So I
right.
guess
Okay.
my
Yep. Yep.
question
Yep.
is for you, is that kind of your experience too?
Mm,
Or do you still have this like, like I'm feeling very big, is a seizure coming? Or are you like,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Do I make a big? think of this, and then nothing happens, or is it how quick is it? What's happening? And then also because you're about to have one, life's very confusing anyway. So there's a lot going on in your brain that you're like, and is this muddled confusion argument I'm having with myself? Is that my aura? Is this what
Yes.
happens every time? And every time I
Yes.
forget that you think you have Alice in Wonderland syndrome, then you don't, then you go, just minute seizures coming or not. But actually, this itself, this argument you're having in your head right now is the aura, and then I have this every time and forget. And that's a sort of nice,
Yes.
relaxed thought process I go through.
The Sunshine Kid
Yes,
tour is coming to the States this fall. So tell
it
us
is.
where you're coming and where we can, check out tour dates and everything. And I'm going to drop that link in the episode description. I am so excited. I can't wait to see you in Chicago, but give us the whole lowdown.
Oh,
I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome.
that's so lovely. Thank you. Yeah, so they're having they being my agents over here, my managers in America, and the promoters are having meetings at the minute to sort dates. So we had a meeting yesterday, and it looks like I'll be doing my first leg in October time, October, November. I'll be over there. So they're splitting it with the coasts because it's a lot to do otherwise. It's a long time to be away from home.
Yeah.
So the best thing to do, I think, is to go on my website, jakelambertcomedy.com, and there's a pop-up will come, or if you scroll down on tour dates, there'll be a mailing list thing. And they're the first to ever hear about the tour. I'll just put like an email out to go, it's happening here. Here's the secret link that you guys get first. Then I'll post about it on Instagram.
Awesome. Awesome. Can't wait.
Yeah,
So
super
excited.
excited. Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. And so I'm coming out in August. I'm going over to New York and LA in August to do some promo stuff,
Yes.
um, which will be fun and lovely to get to do. So my management is sorting that out at the moment. So yeah, I'm very excited. Being from the UK, we sort of dream of being able to go over to America and work over there. So it's very cool. So yeah, I'm excited.
Oh, well, I can't wait to tell my husband that you're coming because when I told
Oh,
him,
that's nice.
I was like, yeah, Jake's gonna, be on the podcast. He's like, we should go to the UK, see one of his shows and do an in-person recording. And I was like, how much money do you think we have? Like, what are you talking about? And so when I tell him you're coming to Chicago, he's gonna be so excited.
Oh, that's
We'll
lovely.
be we'll be the weirdos in the first row, be like, hi.
Oh, that's
Um,
very nice. Thank you. I have had people fly over from America to come to London shows before, and it blows my mind.
I
Very
believe it.
nice.
Hey, listen,
It's
if
so
we had been
lovely.
more flush, we would have been in New Zealand 100%. So,
Thank you.
yes.
Well, don't worry. I'm coming to Chicago. So if you're
Yes.
not there, I'll be absolutely livid now. I
Don't
wouldn't
you
even pay for
worry.
an Uber.
We'll be there in like Jake Lambert t-shirts. Like, I don't know them. I don't know.
You wouldn't be the first.
I believe it, man. I believe it. How does it
Yeah.
feel to just like be at this level?
Um, it never feels real. So you just sort of, it's when you sort of look back, I'll get back from a tour or something, and I'll be home and I'll go, yeah, it was strange, wasn't it? Or my nieces think it's so funny. My nieces, if like somebody like makes a big deal about meeting me because they're like, it's just Uncle Jake. It's just like, it means nothing. And in fact, I remember we were at a pub once. It was my cousin's christening. And so afterwards, you had like hire out a pub and we all go there. And I don't know why me and my niece were doing this, but I'd obviously wear a suit for a christening, and I had my sunglasses on. And then my niece was saying to the barman, like, as they were serving everyone, because we couldn't get served, she was like, don't you know who this is? This is Jake Lambert. And then one of the barmaids found down the pub just went, is it really? And I had to I was stood at the bar with my sunglasses on, being like, "Oh no! If you actually get recognised, it looks quite awful." My niece thought it was so funny. She was like, "Oh, she actually knew you." So yeah,
That's
I've been
fantastic. I
yeah,
love
been
they sound amazing.
yeah. It's just so funny, just the idea of yeah. And I was like, "Oh, whoops, got to be careful now." But it's crazy. It's very nice, but it never feels real. You always think it's going to be taken away at any moment, so you just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. I love well, yeah.
yeah.
That's like life in a nutshell.
That's true. Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Yeah, enjoy it. You never know.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you have epilepsy. I think you get that on a different
Mm.
level too, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So yeah, but it's nice. It's just it's cool, and getting to travel the world and people know who you are, and you can. What a great way to be able to travel the world, just to be able to go around and make people laugh. So that's super
Yeah.
cool. Mm,
Yeah. Oh God, it's so
yeah.
awesome. Okay, well, before we wrap up, I'm gonna ask you three questions.
Mm,
First question is easy. What's your favorite color?
green.
Okay, nice.
Mm,
Solid
yeah.
choice.
Thanks. Thank you.
I approve. Yeah. Number two, if you could tell your newly diagnosed self one thing, what would that be?
That one day you'll be helping people with epilepsy somehow. And I would have probably gone, I'm going to be a doctor. And they're like, no, don't worry about that. Don't worry. You'll find a way. You'll just find another way. Don't worry. Just people telling me that like it helps me talking about it is so crazy. So I wouldn't have realized that, but that I would have told myself that, I think. I'm like, okay,
That's
well, I
awesome.
found a good thing out of it.
I love that.
Yeah.
And last question is, what does it mean to you to be a friend?
Oh, there was a friend of mine. She messaged me the other day. I think she sent me a podcast link to listen to that would teach people how to be friends. So I don't think I'm very good at it. She was like, "This might help." It's like what people expect from friendship. I was like, "Oh," so I don't think it means much to me. It's so I can disappear for a while and then it's sort of like, yeah, I'm so not much.
Just send me that link, and you're like, "This is my answer."
Yeah, my answer's in, I'm still not listening to it, to be honest. But I'm sure my answer's in there somewhere. She was like, "Yeah, I think this might help you. It's people explaining how you're supposed to be friends."
Oh
So
my
there you
God,
go.
that's so funny. Oh, Jake, thank you
Yeah.
so much for joining me. This has been an absolute serotonin boost. You're the best.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you
lovely.
for just being a great comedian and also throwing in those epilepsy jokes and just bringing awareness, man. It's just so helpful to like anyone with epilepsy as a whole. So
Oh, that's very
appreciate you a
nice.
lot. Yeah.
Oh, that's very lovely. Thank you. That's so nice. Thanks for having me on. I look forward to meeting you.
No, thank you. I love your work. I love your podcast, dude. Everything you're
Thank
doing is
you.
so awesome, and I just appreciate you a lot. So,
Oh,
yeah.
that's so nice. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.